I put him on the horse and he said, ouch, I have a cramp in my hip. And I looked at him, I said, oh, you have a cramp? Well, here, sit this way, it'll take your cramp out. And he said, hey, you can hear me. And I said, well, of course I can hear you. It didn't dawn on me. He was nonverbal.
That is actually happening when someone's leaving their body and where they're going.
There's just absolute happiness and peace because nothing negative can go with them. And I get so ticked off at mediums that share negative information because they lack discernment.
Hmm.
This is physics. You're not going to get anything negative from a medium ever. If you do, get up and get out.
I want to welcome everybody back to another episode of The Soul Inspired. Today we're speaking with Terri Jay. She's a psychic medium, so I'm really excited to have her on the show. She's an animal communicator as well, from what I've found out so far. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, Terri.
Thank you so much for having me. And I don't use the P word.
You don't use the P word?
No. Well, physics, but psychic means not in the physical sciences. And
Mm-hmm.
I know all my work is based in physics, energy, frequency, vibration.
Mm.
So I try not to use the P word. But
So,
it's okay if somebody else calls me that. It's better than calling me poop head or something.
right. Do you go by like intuitive medium?
No, just intuitive, medium, animal communicator, horse whisperer, map dowser, remote viewer, medical
Mm.
and veterinary intuitive. I pretty much do everything except predictions and police work.
Wow. And did this start? So let's start with this. Let's look at little Terry. Let's go back in time a little bit. I start with that with most of the guests that come on the show because I honestly try to see. I have two little ones right now myself, two older
Oh,
ones, and my youngest is 6 months old. And when she came into this world, she seemed like she was in and out, and it's probably because she just came from somewhere else, right? And I always wonder when those intuitions come online. I know I had that with music really young and some other things, but for someone like yourself, maybe a little information of who you were as a child and if you had any of these type of abilities when you were young.
I really had no abilities
Mm.
at all as a child. The only thing I remembered as an adult of my childhood is doing astral projection that would scare the crap out of me. And then I'd zip back into my body and be really upset. I was out in the sky, that one of those.
Wow.
I didn't remember that until I was an adult. But mine happened in a really weird way as I was doing a horseback therapy program and I heard a nonverbal child speak to me. And then once I had that confirmed, the suggestion was made to learn to communicate with the horses because all animals are telepathic, and that would make the program really safe. And I was like an idiot. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then one thing's led to another, and now I know there's no limits to it, and that everybody can do this.
So you're saying a nonverbal child communicated with you that day and that made you, and was it audible or was it a
It was all telepathic,
telepathic so you
but
could
I wasn't
understand?
aware it was telepathic.
Okay.
He was. I put him on the horse, and he said, "Ouch, I have a cramp in my hip." And I looked at him. I said, "Oh, you have a cramp? Well, here, sit this way. It'll take your cramp out." And he said, "Hey, you can hear me." And I said, "Well, of course I can hear you." It didn't dawn on me. He was nonverbal. So we went about our
Wow.
business, and he was talking about the school play and his little girlfriend and everything that was going on at school that had nothing to do with horseback riding. So I took him off the horse and put him in his wheelchair, and he went back to class. And the gal that was helping me said, "Boy, he's sure talking great." I said, "Well, he's very bright. Just because he has CP doesn't necessarily mean that he has any cognitive issues." And she said,
Mm-hmm.
"Terry, he didn't say a word he can't remember. If I was a horse, I would have done a buck fart snort because when they're spooked, they do all three of those things at one time."
Yeah.
So
Wow.
anyway, I went in the classroom and they put a band around his head with a pointer and he typed out "horse lady can hear me." So I had instant confirmation. And then I stood there talking to him going, okay, this is weird. But I could hear him and, communicate with him. I was verbal. He was nonverbal. We were communicating telepathically. It was life changing.
How long ago was that? Did that happen?
36 years.
So 36 years ago, it just kind of happened out of nowhere. And
Mm-hmm.
I've said on many shows, obviously I could never hear anything, but I feel things. I still do. But when I was a
Yeah,
child, I used to walk around with my mom in the grocery store, and people would walk by me, and I would feel their emotions. So I would feel anger, I would feel sadness, I would feel happiness, and I thought everyone like did that. And then and then I started closing my eyes at night and seeing colors around people. So I mentioned that to her. And so I told her about the two things, and she went, hmm. And she was kind of trying to treat it normal. And she'd start
right.
getting books and just telling me it's okay. But then when I started telling friends,
That's so
everything
good.
changed. Yeah, but when I told my friends, they thought, uh-oh, what's going on with Joe? What's going on with Joe? Because I was probably grade 4, and I was pretty young, but I've come to realize what all that is now. And I still feel, but I've never heard or picked up on, or maybe I do because I pick up on what people are feeling. I don't know if it's the same thing. I always
That's
ask people
clairsentient. Yeah, being clairsentient.
sentient. So that's different than you're not hearing anything though. Is this a
That's
knowingness?
clairaudient. That's
Okay.
clairaudient.
Okay. But from this nonverbal student or with the horse, you don't hear anything. It's just a knowingness. Is that right?
No, I was actually hearing words from his head.
Oh, wow.
It was total telepathic communication. And what's really fun now is I do a lot. I don't know if you've heard of the telepathy tapes podcast.
I was gonna bring it up, but yes, I've heard of it.
I knew you were going to bring it up.
Yeah, I bet
No,
you did.
no, but I've gotten a lot of people purchasing my book because I actually wrote a book called Intuitive Communication, Communicating with Those Who Cannot. And
Hmm.
it's for first responders, special education teachers, medical personnel, and caregivers, anybody that has somebody that they can't communicate with. If they're in a coma, persistent vegetative state, Alzheimer's, dementia, TBI, strokes, everything, you can still reach them.
Are they still that? So they're still there. Someone's
Yeah,
in a.
yeah. Yeah, because you have to think of their consciousness is an energy. You can't destroy energy, you can only change it.
Hmm.
So the consciousness and soul or spirit stay together. And then when the physical body no longer supports life, then they leave and they go to the other side, which isn't a place, it's a frequency.
Hmm.
And only the positive can go with them. So nobody remembers how they died. The TV mediums drive me nuts. Who died of a fentanyl overdose over here? And when somebody dies, they shed off everything negative and it stays behind in the earthly realm because it's not a vibrational match to source energy to the other side. So if somebody's getting negative stuff, oh, they've got unfinished business, they're dumpster diving when they're doing that. They're
Mm,
in the garbage the person left behind. It looks like, feels like, sounds like the deceased, but it's not them, it's their garbage.
right. I
So
had,
go
yeah,
ahead.
I was going to say I had mentioned you before the show, before we started taping here, that I recently lost somebody, and it got me thinking about different thoughts and questions that come up to me during moments like that. And I wanted to bring this up to you. I asked this question to a few of my guests earlier today actually, but I'm curious about your answer to this. And it's when we go to the other side and we've left this physical body, a lot of NDErs have said when they start rising from their body, they look at it and they don't generally hold like they'll be like, oh yeah, that's my body, but they're okay leaving it. And in fact, a lot of them are like, okay, that's good. We'll just move on. They just kind of leave it behind. There is sometimes where they'll start thinking of their loved ones, could be a husband, child, what it could be.
Sure.
But for the most part, a lot of them then tell me this experience they have, and they almost start to not. It's not that they don't care about that life, but they've kind of moved into this other section. They're no longer focusing on that. In fact, a lot of the times when they come back to the body, it's the remembrance of, oh, right, I have a child I have got to go back to, or that kind of thing. But they're not really like connected in the sense of like, oh my gosh, I need to go back the way we are connected to our material things here in this life.
Right.
And I guess I'm bringing this up because when we lose somebody, we'd like to know they're around. Like
They are
if,
all the time.
right, but if they're around though, are they around because they're watching over
Love,
us, or are they around
love.
because love? Okay.
That's the only reason.
Okay.
And remember too, people on the other side, they can't technically watch over us because that connotates that they would be somehow helping us,
Hmm.
and they can't perceive anything negative in the earthly realm because the other side is only a high positive vibration. So I've had people say, "Oh, my grandmother's my guardian angel." No, not so much. No, you have angels for that. Your angels come in, save your hiney, and they're gone. And we have guides 24/7. And that's who we need to be relying on if we're looking for help and guidance, is our guides.
And our guides, they're kind of in a job format over there. Is this correct? Like I'm trying to use a human
I
term, right?
wouldn't say they're here. I have a gay guide. I love him to pieces. I was so blessed to grow up with gay people showing horses, and it's, oh my God, what an experience. But anyway, I just stand there scratching my head, going, I don't know what to. And just about the time I finished with that, I hear, wear this and this and this, and you look fabulous. And that's what I put on for the day.
Nice.
If I go to cook, try something new. I swear this guide sounds like she's from Minnesota. Oh yeah, yeah, you betcha. Mix that up over there. Oh, not like that. Oh, do it like this. It's really fun. It's just fun.
Did that take time to, so going back to where this first started, then did you get right into it right away, or did it take time for
Oh
you to adjust to
no.
the world and what happened? Was it kind of scary? Like what were your
Oh,
feelings
Joe,
around it?
I was so effed up at that time in my life. I was married
Okay.
to an alcoholic. I was the wicked stepmother and, trying to do this nonprofit organization and run it and fundraise for it. And he was a horse trainer. And he came in the house one day and said, the horse training's getting in the way of my drinking. And I went, oh, no, that was the end. I could see
Wow.
that was going to be the end. But anyway, I was so messed up and I had no idea about what I'd been through as a child that was so damaging. And I mean, I should have ended up a drug addict, alcoholic hooker. I really should have. But the horses saved me because if you want to have horses, which I can't be without them, you have to have a schedule, you have to have income, you have to be responsible. They depend on you, you have to take care of them. And you can't just decide to, take care of them and then not. So the horses are really what saved my life. And I'm really grateful that they did. And so I met two energy healers along the way, and they really kicked my butt and helped me to release all the crap that I grew up with. And, it's all about dropping the garbage and raising your vibration. It really is. I mean, that's how we heal, and that's how we get to where we can perceive things that are higher vibration. And that's really what this is all about.
So you met two people along the way that showed you that you can use the gift that you have? Did it just kind of like
Well,
help you?
one of them was abusive
Hmm.
because she'd call me 4 or 5 times a day. Hey, can you look at something? And we have to remember this over the phone, but can you look at something? But I'm so grateful because she taught me there were no limits to this. I was doing inspections of hotels she was looking at buying, you know, and I'd find, I'd say 3.2 miles to the southeast, you have an active fault. So you make sure you've got good earthquake insurance. And you've got three boilers on the roof, and the one on the far left has a leak. I mean, it was just that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
it's really been fun too, because I do inspections on homes people are looking at buying,
Hmm.
and did that with my own home. I knew what was wrong here. And but there were just no limits to it. And the big things were to get out of your own way and to not have an ego. Ego means easing God out, and that you're not special and everybody can do this. And so it really helped me to heal myself, with energy healing and all that. And the medical and veterinary intuition, oh my Lord. I've been doing that 30. I'm still shaking my head going, what the hell was that? Do you know what I mean? You see stuff, you feel stuff, and
Right.
then it turns out it's right. And then
Hmm.
you save animals in the process or help people overcome their guilt in the process. It's just been, that's been a gas. Oh my Lord.
So when you first started picking up on this, you surprised yourself, it sounds like, at times.
I'm still surprising myself.
Right.
Really, I still am. And half
Yeah.
the time I'm arguing with my guides about it, like, oh, I don't want to tell them that. And they're going, no, you better tell them. And I don't want to tell them that. I want to tell them, you're going, oh God, okay. And then it always has a positive outcome. So I've gotten
Wow.
where I don't argue with them near as much as I used to.
So in the beginning, it was a change in your life, but you said you were going through so much, maybe because you were going through so much hardship that it allowed you to kind of be allow this to become more of a norm. Because some people, the reason I bring this up is I've known people who see spirit. I've known people. I had a situation where I seen something once with someone. Luckily, because I think if I seen it on my own, I think I would have signed myself into a loony bin. But I saw an apparition but it did make me go a little bit crazy for about an hour or two. I didn't know what
Sure.
I just witnessed, and I did all this stuff trying to make my reality make sense. And some people, for some reason, have this gift, and I've been told everybody is psychic or
It's
everybody's
not
a
a,
medium. Everybody's got the
it's not
gift,
a
right?
gift.
Okay.
It's not, it's really not a gift, Joe. And this is one of the things that I do differently. If somebody goes, oh, yes, I'm special. And I go, yeah, short bus, really? And then, or if they say they have gifts, it's just not true.
Mm.
The only difference between me and somebody who doesn't do this yet is I've just been at it every freaking day for 35 years. It's my vocation. And
Right.
so, but I still have trouble though when people don't do it and don't see it. And it's like I hurt my ankle and went to an urgent care and I wanted to make sure I didn't have blood clots or cellulitis. That's what I was worried about. And I'm saying, can you see it? Do you see it? So what do the cells look like to you? I can't see myself. And they're like, no, I can't see the cells. Oh, well, I can see yours. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Right.
can't see your own stuff sometimes. And
Yeah.
so I expect if I go to a physician, they're going to be a veteran, they're going to be a medical intuitive. Nope.
Right.
Very frustrating.
Right.
How does that
Wow.
look inside? We have to do tests. What? Can't you just look? So
Hmm.
it really gets me in a lot of trouble.
I love this because there's probably a lot with it with the soul inspired audience. There's a lot of people obviously who watch this show because of the near death experiences, because of the different content that I bring to the show. And I would assume a lot of people have had situations where they've thought of someone, the next thing they call, or that type of thing. And I remember when I started the show, I've been learning about this, because a lot of people that go to the other side and come back, it almost like it switches on something that wasn't on before, maybe life had just
Sure.
gotten them so grounded here that they didn't realize they could do this. So what
Yeah.
happened with me is I was working with my students. I have music students and some spiritual life students, things like that. But especially my music students, they'd come in, I'd feel something, and I've always known that I'm that way. And instead of if something just keeps if it comes right through me like like it just goes it's like instead of me thinking, oh, I shouldn't say anything, I just say it now. And I experimented. I started experimenting with this. I would just
Good.
say it, and they'd say, no, 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 like I'm fine. Well, then as things went on, it was like, oh yeah, actually that is happening. Or tears would start, or
Sure.
I'd be hitting on things, or I one time I said somebody that was saying they're having trouble with relationships. I said it's all right in August, you're gonna meet some person. I don't know why I'm thinking August. It just like hit me really quick. Well, sure enough, that next year in August, she met someone. She's been with them since. Things like
Right.
that are something I've never really understood. I think I would. It's like it would come through me quickly, and I would think, oh, that's just got to be my brain making up a story. And
No.
that's the change I've made is now I go, oh, that's like something coming through that I'm picking up on. And now
Right.
but I think I was scared to say things in the past.
Right.
Is that something that
That's
happened?
ego.
Do you get that? Do you
Yeah,
ever
but
get,
that's ego easing God out. The other thing
okay.
too, you never want to ambush people with information because you don't know what they're going through, and you certainly don't want to do any predictions.
Hmm.
No predictions. Predictions are completely unethical due to the law of attraction. And if somebody schedules with me and they go, tell me what you're seeing, tell me what you're getting for my future, I go, I'm going to refund your money and we're going to go because I don't do
Wow.
predictions. They're unethical. They are. The big thing is that because of the way the law of attraction works, what you think about, you bring about.
Hmm.
So if I see the person getting in an accident with a white van, I see them getting in an accident. And I go, okay, when you're in traffic, watch out for white vans. I mean, just stay away from white vans. Just giving them that information can guarantee they will be in an accident with a white van. Guaranteed.
Right.
Because they're going to be going, no, no, no at it. They will pull it to them. What we
Mm.
resist persists, right?
Right.
And so if we see something, they're working really hard on something. And I say, oh, yeah, yeah, you're going to get that. And then they go, well, Terry said I'm going to get it. So I can just quit working toward it. And then it doesn't happen. And then I'm the shit. You know what I mean?
So does that mean then if I, using my example, seeing the month of August and I keep it to myself, I don't say it, could it be that person is thinking, I'm hoping by August I meet somebody and I'm picking up on that thought more than
If
anything?
you take the August out of it, you'd probably be okay.
Mm, okay.
You could say something, hey, guys are like streetcars. There's another one along every 20 minutes, right?
Right.
You
Right.
can say something like that and say, oh, you deserve better. Something really positive, but dates and times and places, nope, nope, nope,
Right.
nope.
I guess I say it because if,
Dangerous.
again, if what we resist persists, but also what we focus on can occur, right? So like if we're thinking about
Exactly.
something, so if that individual is thinking, I really hope I think by maybe the summer I'll finally meet this person, and they're constantly thinking that way. Well, that could be what I'm picking up on.
Exactly. But they can also pull it in. But the problem is what if the guy is early and he comes in June? And she's gonna miss it because she goes, no, no, I'm not supposed to meet somebody till August.
Right. And that's the problem with some readings, is what you're saying. If you give exact
Yes.
dates and things like this, it can cause kind of chaos in someone's life.
Yeah. Well, it's not in the person's best interest.
Right.
Oh God, and everybody wants it. I want it. When am I going to have a TV show? Right?
Right.
Weenie whiny. I want to know. I just have to keep working toward it.
That's amazing. So you've been doing this. You also mentioned that you have written a few books about, is it about your life story? Is it about like what are the books surrounding?
The, the first one I wrote, The Cowgirl Shaman Way, 7 Easy Steps to Develop Your Intuitive Ability. It kind of goes into my background and how I got in this place. So it has some background. I think I put a little bit in the other two. The second book I wrote is for communicating with people who can't. It's called Intuitive Communication, Communicating with Those Who Cannot. And
Hmm.
it's really, really helping a lot of parents of autistic kids now because the autistic kids are automatically telepathic and the parents aren't. So the parents with a few simple steps can learn how to develop their own telepathy so they can actually have these totally mental conversations with their kids now. And I have a lot of them I've done that with, and they're just blown away. Like, why didn't we do this 10 years ago?
Hmm.
And then the last one I wrote is the physics of mediumship because I really wanted to take the woo woo out of it. It's not mystical, it's physics. It's just energy, frequency, vibration. And all of us have the abilities to do it, and we can all turn it on and use it. And then it just takes practice of staying out of ego, getting out of your own way, and listening faster. That's really the hard part, Joe. Is people want to have a? Have you ever seen that guy in the Ghost Show? And he goes, "Why are you stuck? Why haven't you crossed over?" Well, I'm sorry. If he's asking those long, drawn out sentences, he's already missed the response
Right.
because it sounds like this. Hey, how come? Oh,
Right.
what do you? Oh, so oh,
Wow.
oh. I mean,
Wow.
it's that fast. And so
Hmm.
if you have this whole question, you know, laid out, you're gonna miss it.
That is fascinating the way you just said that because again, I have close relationships with the people I work with.
Sure,
And if I notice, because being an empath right away, I notice feeling. So I notice
sure,
right away. I can even notice before they ring the doorbell, and I open and I go, whoa, I can feel it right away. But then I
right.
go, okay, just let's get right to it. Then I will now, you just said it perfectly. And I hope people are listening if they're really trying to understand the way this works, is I will say, so what's been going, and before I can say what's been going on, I'm already kind of feeling something, whether it's something to someone's child, whatever it could be, it's
You're
already
doing
hitting me. And then they'll say it, and many times I'll be like, wow, how did I pick up on that? But then my brain will go, well, of course, because that's something that's going, like I try to make, that's the part where I go wrong
you try to
because I
rationalize
try to
it.
rationalize why I'm
Nope.
thinking I
Uh,
understand it. And so I have to just accept it.
yes.
But you're right, because as soon as I'm thinking the question or talking it, it's already back. And
Yeah.
that makes total sense. Wow.
I had so much fun with it too. I rode this afternoon, even though I'm really old and creaky. My gelding is 26 now, and I think we've got one more year, and then we're in the Century Club. So excited. But anyway, while I was riding him, I just dropped the reins, and then I just told him mentally, "Whoa!" He just stopped. Mentally, I said, "Whoa."
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was so fun to just do that. And I went, "Oh, that was cool." And of course,
Hmm.
then I gave him a cookie. And I was doing that with him like the whole time I was riding. It was so fun. And he's like, "Of course I heard you." I mean, he's kind of like that, you know. What's the big deal? Of course I heard you.
I remember hearing from someone that a way to kind of test things out and just have fun with it so you don't put too much pressure on yourself. You go into the grocery store, right? And you're going to go to the grocery store and you look at this big parking lot and all you're going to say is, okay, I want to be close. I want to park close to the grocery store.
Oh yeah,
And
all the time.
you just drive up and you go, oh no, no, not this one. You just whatever one speaks to you, just go there. And you'll
Yeah.
see how many times there'll be a parking spot waiting right
Yep,
there for you.
absolutely.
And
Oh,
that's a fun one.
I was in a grocery store one time, and I could hear this guy going, what's that's where is that?" And he was looking for a supplement. I think he was looking for niacin. And he's just focused on the whole rack of supplements. And I went, "Oh, the niacin's right here." And I picked up the jar and handed it to him. And he said, and then he goes, "Did I say something out loud?" And I went, "Oh no, no, I'm telepathic. Here you go." And he went, "Thank you." Like I was nuts.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
myself in trouble a lot. I really do, but it's fun.
Wow. That's because you've been so accustomed and practiced to it. And that's what I mean.
Oh
Like for
gosh,
someone
yeah.
like me, it's still very new. It's not new, but I think my awareness is new. The awareness
Sure.
of what it is. I think probably we've all been doing it our whole lives. And it,
Yeah.
and it's likely as I always have this hope that as we progress as humans, we'll start to use these abilities a little more. I'm hoping. I mean, it's the telepathy tapes is something that is
Oh
fascinating
gosh,
because
yeah.
when I was a child, if somebody had some kind of disability or something, there was some kind of ignorance around it a lot, and
Oh gosh.
and
Yeah.
now they're making a podcast about children who can tell, someone stands behind with a letter and they're just, this is the letter you're holding and they're not even looking. And
Right.
to me, that's amazing. It means that there's something that we're so busy in this. We're always so busy drinking our coffee, running to the stores. They're like,
Right.
da, 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 da. We're not listening to what they're hearing, and that's to me, that is mind blowing. Have you ever had a fear of death?
No. No, I just want to. I have a lot to get done. I'm doing the dog book now, and then I want to do the horse book. Then I got to do the cat book and the communication book. And then I've got two novels. And because I've been working with Stage 32 at pitching my TV show, I want to turn those two books into screenplays. I think they would be great. And they
Wow.
both have a main character that has these abilities. It's not me, but the main character has these abilities and is
Mhm.
a horse person in both books. So it's pretty fun. So one's a time travel romance, and then the other one has to do with Area 51.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
good. I love sometimes you believe it or not, the near-death experiences sometimes tie into that type of stuff. It gets a little bit out there sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have over the years, like you said, the woo-woo of everything. We've woo-wooed everything, even the idea that there's someone else out there or there's something else out there. And then it's like, well, yeah, but they
Oh,
may not even be in this
I don't
physical.
think
That
they're
they
out
could
there. I think they're
they're
in
here.
here.
Right, right, right. Like different planes of
No,
dimensions.
I think some of us are hybrids
Mm,
that, there's been some breeding going on between species.
hmm.
So I think, yeah, they could be out there, but I think they're here already.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the reasons too why I brought up the fear of death thing is that is what got me into near death experiences. As a kid, I had anxiety over the idea of death. It was in my teenage
That
years.
was because of how you died last time.
Hmm. Okay, well that would make sense.
Yeah, it
It
was a
would.
long death. It took you a long time to die last time.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah,
that's no that
that's
that probably did it because
well, yeah,
I was pretty young. I mean, I was probably 9 or 10 when I started getting this massive fear, and I didn't know where it came from. And that
yeah,
lasted for years and years until I finally said, you know what? I got to snap out of this because I'm so full of anxiety. I'm not here. Like I'm not in this reality. Then I'd start looking at my hand and going, what is this? And I started having these kind of, I don't know, panic modes. And so I started reading books on near-death experiences. And I thought, I'm
yeah.
going to go to the specialists, the people who've literally died.
That's so cool.
And that's how I started getting in my spirit. I would call it spirituality, right?
Sure.
And then I do want to mention this because you're a medium. I've never shared this on the show before. I had my first experience with a again psychic or medium in the I was probably around 16 and I was online and there was this chat room and there was this woman, her name was Rebirth, that was her chat name. And she used to go in and people would get up and she was a real right from New York, very hardcore woman, very like straight to the point, right? And she'd get up and people would ask a question, she'd come on and she'd be very real with them. And being a teenager, I thought, well, I don't believe in this stuff. Like, this is crazy. And so I kind of called her out and she came on and she said, well, what do you want to know? Like, what is it that, and we talked a little bit about things and she started describing me. Again, at this time, there was no face, like you didn't have a face up or anything.
Sure.
They couldn't see what I looked like. She was nailing everything about me, just everything. And she said, you have blonde frosted hair. And I did. And because I used to use the frost and tip kind of funny things. And she goes, and you're female. And I went, oh, no, I'm not female. Yeah, I got you. You don't know. And then she put a wink and said, well, take your earrings out. I have, I wear earrings. Okay. So
That's funny.
yeah, and she was probably in her 80s. This woman, she was right. She had been doing this a long time.
Wow.
And well, when she did that, the hair on my arm went up. I'm not kidding. This is a true story. I grabbed the plug from the power and I unplugged my computer. I ran down the stairs. My mom was full in laundry and I looked like white as a ghost. And that was my introduction to what, was outside of my physical, right? Like what
Right.
and then we built a nice relationship after that. I got to know her more and I was learning from
Well,
her and
good.
understanding it. But she was doing it as she said, I was kind of being mean to you that night. I didn't have to go that. She was using her ability in a way that she doesn't normally because I was being a
Right.
bit of a smart, just kind of calling
Sure.
her out. And she was describing what I looked like. And oh, I know what it was. I was sitting on my leg. I was sitting on my leg and I had anxiety. Remember, I had anxiety about what was going on, and I had kind of a form of hypochondriosis, or I was scared I was dying of everything. And I'm sitting there, and she's writing and telling me about myself, and this is what actually got me to unplug it because now it just came back to me. I was thinking to myself, what's going on with my leg? And she writes, and your leg's asleep, dummy, because you're sitting on it.
Oh, that was good.
And
That was good.
that got me. That got
Yeah.
me because she was picking up either on a thought. I don't know what it was, but it was the thing that I would say out of anything that's ever happened in my life from a reading standpoint, that got me. This woman
Yeah.
did not know me. She did not know my anxiety issues. She did not know I was sitting, and I'm doing it right now, sitting on my leg, cutting off the blood circulation and thinking I was dying from some kind of blood clot or something, right at 15. But I wanted to share that story. I've never shared it. It was my introduction to mediumship. Do you ever get anybody that gets kind of freaked out about your ability?
Um, no, because I don't go around talking about it. Other than being a cowgirl and smelling bad sometimes because I've just been cleaning stalls. Other than
Mhm.
that, I seem pretty normal old lady.
Yeah.
Uh, that I want to go back to where you were talking about, when people leave their body.
Hmm.
This is a little known fact because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. But when you leave your body, when your conscious mind and spirit is leaving, you actually have what's called a joygasm on the way out. And it's rushes and rushes of joy that go up and down your physical body. It starts in your physical body, and then it carries over into your energetic body as you leave. And so it's one of those where it's like, I need a cigarette, for crying out loud. That was really something. But anytime I've had to put my dogs down and my horses, and it has little to do with when their heart stops. It's usually before, but they will go through between your third and heart chakra and give you that joygasm to show you what they're going through. And it's, oh my God, it's just unbelievable. So I encourage people, if they have to euthanize a dog or a horse or cat or whatever, be there. You want to be there. You want to experience that with them because it's so joyful for them. It just sucks for us.
Hmm.
So, a lot of people just don't know about that. They don't want to be there. They can't stand the idea of watching an animal pass, even though it's very humane and, it's really wonderful.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, you
yeah.
did well, you did two things there. The when you brought up what happens when you leave your body, I had thought the question in my head and I was writing it down as you asked it. I just want to let you know that. So I was about to ask the question and you said, I want to go back and talk about what happens when we leave the body. And I went, okay, like that's wild. So
This is fun. I
yeah.
like doing this.
So yeah, so you brought that up right away. The other thing was I did lose a pet about a year and a half ago, but it was with a past partner, so we no longer together, and she was the one who had put down our dog. And I didn't experience what you're saying, and I'm wondering why I didn't. Maybe my ego, maybe you'll say it's the ego, but
No,
I
it's grief.
okay, because
It's grief.
I was waiting to get a text that she had gone. And
Mhm.
right before I went up to go to the washroom and I got up off my bed and I went to, and I felt,
That's it.
it felt like this leaving and I fell to my knees and I
That's it.
saw my phone light up and I went, and I looked and it said, she's gone. And I went, oh my gosh, like it was all at the
Yes, it's
same
right
moment,
there. You.
but it didn't feel good. I felt sadness and sorrow.
No, but
So
I
what?
think I think you were afraid of that feeling because you didn't know what it was.
Okay.
And you're
Okay.
expecting bad news. So,
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
because the first couple of times it happened to me, it was like, oh, I think I'm going to be sick. Oh, I think I'm going to pass out. It wasn't pleasurable,
Okay.
with the first, because I'm older than dirt and I've had animals my whole life. And I mean, I had 24 horses at one time and they were
Well,
all old. So, the sons of bitches die.
yeah. So
They
you've
don't
had a
live
lot,
forever.
you've experienced that over and over.
Yeah.
And have you come to the point now where it is more of a joyous transition for,
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah.
wow. And that's probably why too, when I asked that question, it's funny when I said, are you afraid of death? You moved past that question so quickly. I wish I could have heard that when I was 15 because you're just kind of like, oh no, no, but I have things to do. And I'm like, no, no, I don't mean
Yeah,
like,
we do.
I didn't mean right now for you. I just meant, have you ever been afraid of leaving Terry, like leaving this incarnate, like
No.
that you don't, maybe it's, but because you have a knowingness that we continue on. Is this correct?
Yes, but the other thing is I have longevity in my genetics. My dad is going to be 97. He's still working part-time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
So when I turned
smokers.
50, it was on to the next 50 plus.
Right.
The other thing too, I'm a stinker. I know about energy healing.
Hmm.
Even if somebody said, "Well, you've got 6 months," I'd go, "Okay," and I would tootle off to my local energy healer who cured my sister's lymphoma in one session, and woke a guy up out of a coma who was brain dead. The guy went back to work. So when you know about energy healing and you know the what it can do, um, you don't worry about it. So, I mean, I take pretty good care of myself, but I don't worry about what I eat or, we have to remember too, and God, this is so important. Diet, exercise, and allopathic medicine. And think about how much focus is put on all that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 1% of who we are. 1%. So if you don't take care of that 50%, 99% energetic part,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be in trouble. So I do energy healing on myself all the time. If I'm pissed off at somebody, I write them a letter and burn it, and take my power back. So I really don't. I'm not cocky about it. I'm confident.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident that I take good care of myself. I have a great life other than joint issues from riding broncs my whole life. I feel really good for an old broad. I really do.
So you would always suggest for people to work with energy healers if they're going through any type of
I got one better. Email me for the energy healing instructions. I'll send them to you. You can do it yourself.
mm,
And I can even coach them if they get stuck.
wow.
It's so simple. We just don't do it. And really the people that I've had as friends that have died, they just refuse to let go of their crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I had one friend that died and she owed like 30,000 in gambling debt, so she felt cornered. So when she started getting sick, I mean, for a year, I told her, "God, what's with your liver?" "Oh, I'm fine." "Well, do some energy healing." "Oh, energy schmenergy," she said. She's dead. And I had
Wow.
another friend, and she had pancreatic cancer. And I remember going over there for something, and she'd gone through everything, and she was clearing out a little storage unit. And I said, "What you doing?" And it was like watching The Exorcist. I was waiting for her head to spin around. She says, "I'm getting rid of my late husband's effects." I'm waiting for her head to start spinning around because her voice was not her voice.
Wow.
And I just looked at her and I said, "That's why you have pancreatic cancer." She
Mm.
says, "What?" I said, "You have never forgiven him for taking his own life." And that was it. And she died.
So when
You
we're
know, so
holding on, because when we're holding on to things in our life, we're creating stuck energy. We're
which
creating,
causes dis-ease.
right?
And I can even make it more simple. Joe, disempowerment causes dis-ease. That's it.
Mm.
It's that simple. And there's people through your whole life that'll try and take your power.
Mm-hmm.
And just with this stupid letter writing, "Dear you effing a-hole," or whatever, and you tell them off, and then you burn the letter and you say out loud, "Nobody's ever going to treat me like that again." You take your power back. I know a lot of people that they have a lot of letter writing to do.
Right.
But the big thing that really makes me sad is when people, they know they've got this garbage. They know they're hanging on to grief. They're hanging on to guilt. They're hanging on to all this negative stuff. They wonder why they're sick. And yet, when you tell them it's because of you're holding on to this garbage, they don't want to let go of it. It's like they're in mega victim mode and choosing to stay there.
Mm. You are
That's
hitting on
really bad.
so much right now. I'll tell you why. So I've personally gone through different things and ailments, but they're always like tiny minor ailments. They're things that are reminding me that I'm holding on to some things because it's like with everybody, I'm human. I go through different things. Music. Music since I was 11 years old was my outlet. And I notice when I go away from it for a long period of time, I run into some issues, just go through different things.
Sure.
And then as soon as I start writing again and releasing whatever I'm doing,
Mhm.
um, I get things get better. And
Right.
and so it's almost like I feel like I've always had this tool that I can go back to in order
How about just don't stay away from it?
I know, and that's something that needs to happen. That's something
Right.
I'm now working back on. And I just put a post out the other day. I said, back to the music. We're getting back to it.
Yeah.
It's something that I feel like it's something that I've been able to use as a healer, and then other people can listen to the music and lets them feel. I think music is a beautiful tool for that. And so
It's like my horses, same thing.
yeah, it's
That's my
just
healing.
right. Yeah. No, that's amazing. How do people get in contact with you? Do you have a website and things like
Oh
that, or
yeah.
where?
Yeah, it's just, my name's up there and it's just terrijay.com. And you can
TerriJ.com.
schedule appointments, you can buy the books. I have trainings, um, where I teach people how to do this. Oh, I love doing that. Oh my God. And I love training people to do energy healing too. It's more, learn to coach other people so they can heal themselves. There's a couple healing modalities, around, and they all require hands-on healing. Well, if you're sick because you've lost your power, you're disempowered, so you have dis-ease, then if somebody lays hands on you, you still haven't gotten your power back. So a lot of times you can feel better for a while, but then a lot of times the disease will come back.
Right. Yeah, why do we do that? Why do I hear about this all the time? Somebody will be complaining about this terrible relationship. It's always relationships at my age with people, and they'll tell me this terrible relationship. Oh, I got out of it. And then 3 months later, they're back in a new relationship. It's great. And then, oh, same thing. It's the same person, just with a different name. It's like a
You know,
same.
you know what that is?
What is that?
Inner child crap.
Hmm.
We all have an inner child that tries to sabotage us. And so I recommend asking your inner child to come and live in your heart where you can give them unconditional love. I mean, think of all the things in second chakra, which is, 3 fingers this way below your belly button, right on the midline is where
Hmm.
second chakra is. And IBS, IBD, Crohn's, bladder issues, female issues, low back issues, hip issues. That's all childhood crap, all of it. And then, so you have your little inner child who's pissed off at you, the adult, because you didn't protect them or save them when they were a child, because of course you were the same child at the time, right?
Hmm.
And so they sabotage you physically. So if you make peace with your inner child and tell them if they come and live in your heart, then you can love them unconditionally. And then, and you can feel them in your heart. Then you say, ask them what'll make you happy. And it's always really silly, stupid stuff. Little Terry has to have ponies. Thank God they're in the backyard. Ice cream, I let her have it a couple times a week. I share with my dogs, though, so I only eat about a third of it. And then the other thing is so stupid. She's got to have sparkles on her toes when she gets a pedicure. And I have special overlay polish that goes on whatever color I choose. And that keeps little Terry happy to where I can even say, hey, little Terry, we're slow. Do you want to go help some people and do some readings? And she just nods and toddles off into the ethers. And, my email starts and the phone starts and the text messages and messages on Facebook. And I'm busy then. And she's
Wow.
helping instead of sabotaging. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
So we have to rescue our inner child and
Hmm.
and give them the unconditional love they didn't have as a child.
Hmm.
It's
And
pretty simple, but complicated.
sounds like you have to really have that awareness. You have to almost come outside of yourself because we get caught up in the world. We're caught up with, oh, here
Sure.
it comes again. It's like this big play that keeps re
Right.
happening. You have to be able to step back and say, what is going on here?
Yep.
And if you start stepping back, but see, a lot of people are afraid to step back. A lot of people are afraid
Right.
to step back because they're afraid of what they're going to see.
That's right.
That's, I think that's the first step. And then the rest is, obviously you got a good hold of that. I
Well,
did.
Joe, the,
Yeah.
the big thing about relationships, I love that you brought that up. People need to have on their freaking vision board what they're looking for. I mean, a loving, committed relationship, because loving, committed, that's what everybody wants, with a wonderful person who loves, honors, and cherishes me, because that cuts out all the bullshit. And then you put they are, and then you describe them: happy, sexy, balanced, wealthy, clean, cooperative, funny, kind, whatever's important to you. And then you focus on feeling what it feels like to have that person in your life. I even had clients that they'd find a good looking person on the internet and cut out that, print off and cut out that person and put it on their vision board. And they didn't get that person, but they got somebody that was a dead ringer for them.
Mm.
And they had all of those things that they were looking for. So it works. And when people end up repeating negative patterns, it's because they're not aware of the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have it on your vision board, what you're looking for, then you meet somebody, it's real easy to go back to your vision board and go, nope, not on my board. Bye.
Right.
Right?
Well, it keeps you focused too on what
Yes.
you're looking for, not what you're not looking for, because
Right.
they get
And then you
yeah.
manifest it. You
Hmm.
manifest it.
Right. That was one thing I first learned about, so when I get really caught in it, I'm really aware of my thoughts. And I'm going, but you kind of have to do that in the beginning. You have to be aware. If you're not aware of it, then, if I'm driving, I'm saying, oh, this car keeps cutting me off. This car keeps cutting me off. This car, well, there's going to keep being cars cutting me off. It's because I'm focusing on, that's what I'm
That's
focusing
right.
on.
That's right.
And so, and what'll happen is I'll go, okay, breathe. And I'll go, no, this is going to be a great. And next thing you know, I'm where I need to get. And I forgot that cars were cutting me off. And then later I go, oh, wow. Yeah, that worked. Like
That's right.
I've done that with all kinds of different things. That's just an
Oh
example, but
gosh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
it works. I did also, because of the nature of the show, I should ask, what is your thoughts or your feelings around what happens once we do come out of the body? Like what kind of, do you have any feeling around that? Like what is actually happening when someone's leaving their body and where they're going?
To me, they just are met, embraced by source energy. And in that nanosecond of passing, they do a life review and they just think, oh God, that was great. Oh, that wasn't so great. Oh, that was good. But it's done in a nanosecond. And I think at that point, we decide what challenges we want next time around.
Mm.
Because bad things don't just happen. We either attract them because of our thoughts and feelings, or we have them as challenges so that we have opportunities for growth. And you look at some people and you go, boy, you must have done something really wrong in your last life to want all these challenges in this life, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think then we're on the other side, which is another frequency or vibration. And we're totally greeted by all our pets, all our loved ones. It's just like a big family reunion. I mean, half the time I see red checkered tablecloths and, you know, all this food plied on the tables, even if it's just memory of food, because we
Hmm.
obviously don't need to eat when we're non-physical.
Right.
And there's just absolute happiness and peace because nothing negative can go with them. And I get so ticked off at mediums that share negative information because they lack discernment.
Hmm.
This is physics. You're not going to get anything negative from a medium ever. If you do, get up and get out because they're in the garbage that people that passed left behind. They are not connected to them on the other side. The sad part about that is they can go back and forth. They can connect to the person on the other side and be in the garbage and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the stuff in the garbage seems legit because it looks like, feels like, and sounds like the deceased. It's not them, though. It's just their garbage.
Mm.
So it's just really, really important. I wish more mediums had discernment, and there's even some that they want to give you the cause of death. Nobody remembers how they died. What they wouldn't be heaven if they go, you know what happened to me. It just wouldn't be heaven if they
Hmm.
were sharing war stories about how they died, right?
Wow. You mentioned that you've been around a lot of animals during, the end phase of their life. Have you been around a lot of people, like different people? Have you ever been around anyone when it kind of was coming to that time?
I stayed connected to my mom when she was passing, as she was passing, and she woke me up. She woke me up when she died. We knew she was going to pass, but she woke me up and she said, I did it. When I said, you left your body? She said, yes. Then she hauled up and hit me right in my bicep. I asked her one time, I said, why do you hit us kids there? We're adults. And she goes, because it doesn't show. I mean, that's what a stinker my mom was. She still is.
Yeah.
Anyway, she said, why didn't you tell me how incredible it was? I said, Mom, you didn't believe in an afterlife. She goes, well, you should have tried harder to convince me. I said, and where do I get my stubborn streak? That's beside the point, she said. She goes, it's amazing. Then she goes, I've got your pig. I said, what? She says, remember when you were in your 20s and you had a pet pig? Oh my God, Molly? She said, yes. She goes, and all your horses are here, and I'm not scared of any one of them, because it was our favorite thing as a teenagers when we were showing horses to hand her a lead rope and take off, And she'd be terrified.
Mm.
So she was naming off horses I haven't thought of in 30 years. I mean, that's why, you think, well, yeah, I'm a medium, I can do this. And then your mom starts telling you the names of all your deceased horses from in your 20s and 30s, and you're going, oh my God, it's real. This is real. Because I wasn't thinking about, you just have to move on, and you got new horses, So it was really something when she passed. And then we had a graveside service. And she's like, what'd you have to pay the rabbi? To my sister. And of course, my sister wasn't hearing her. And then it was just my sister and I left, and they're getting ready to drop her coffin into the ground. And one guy shoves the coffin with her shoulder. And I could hear, she goes, you know what I paid for that? It's just so my mom,
So
it
her
was
sense
hilarious.
of humor. Wow.
It was just hilarious.
I have a couple more questions for you, but here's a bonus question with that. If she's here and she's coming back and she's able to do that, if, because I believe in reincarnation. I mean, I can't confirm it, but if she goes to another life, is she now gone from
No,
she can still
no,
communicate with you in this physical,
it's
in that way?
energy.
With her
Joe,
energy in it. So she could be reborn right now, but still able to communicate with you as your mother here that
we
you
have
have.
coffee together every morning, 8 o'clock.
I
We
wonder how
still
that
have coffee
works.
together because I used to call her. She lived in Vegas and I live in Northwestern Nevada. And we used to have coffee together every morning, 8 o'clock.
So it just works different on the other side because energy is different than the physical realm. Because I can't split myself apart and be Joe and somebody else, obviously.
You don't know that you're not already. Because you can put 10 spirits in one body and one spirit in 10 bodies.
Mm.
It's physics. Have you ever seen the movie What the Bleep?
I haven't. You're this
Go watch it
couple
and
people
watch
have
the
mentioned this.
sequel.
Mm-hmm.
What the bleep do we know? That'll blow you away because that movie was so life-changing for me. I just watched it with the wrong person, but that was a big joke in itself. you know,
I'll have to
it
check that
was,
out.
yeah, what the bleep do we know is it's just incredible
Wow.
because it talks about quantum physics and physics and this stuff just I can just go on and on and on with it. I just love it so much.
No, it's amazing. You brought out so many different insights. I mean, listening to you talk about it, it's interesting when you speak with someone who has had, I mean, you've had a different life than I have. You've had different experiences than I have.
Sure.
And I feel blessed in this show that I get to sit and talk with people because I feel like I'm able to experience parts of their life through
Well,
just,
sure.
it's kind of like a soul family kind of feeling.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with it, but I love it for myself. I love it for the audience. I love the ability, so many people knock technology and things like this, but one of the benefits and beautiful parts of it is things like this, where people are learning so much quicker now. They're able to walk and do their housework and listen to a podcast
Yep.
and get different insights that they weren't getting at one point,
Right.
And so I just appreciate you. I appreciate you talking about all your experiences and things like that. And
I just love doing this. I mean, there's times when, I do reading after reading after reading, and, I do my work by phone all over the world. I did one last week in Ireland, and, it was with an autistic child and where they were going to move. And and all that stuff. It was so fun. And then I do horses in Australia.
Oh.
It's just, it's amazing. And to me, all of these people are friends. They're not just clients, they're friends too.
Hmm.
And there's times I get off the phone and just bawl, just out of gratitude. I get to do this. And it's so humbling. Oh my goodness, it's just so humbling.
Yeah.
And I want to teach everybody how to do it,
Well,
because it's so easy to learn once you get out of your own way.
when you mentioned the training, I thought, well, I'm going to keep an eye on that. I know the way my mind's going right now, and music's always going to be a huge part of my life until I'm not in this life. I know that I can feel that, but I know there's some more things I'm to do, and there's more
Sure.
things coming, and it's ramping up. And I look to so many people that I meet in this work, and it's almost like I'm getting different mentors, and it's beautiful because you kind of like you go, wow, like this is incredible, and I want to take this and I want to share this. And I think that's how the world grows. That's how we
Yes.
evolve. And I think that's what's happening. It's just, things are always just happening. And
I just
I
love sharing this.
yeah.
I have been swamped recently because this gal called me up and she said, my horse is at Oregon State University Vet Hospital. And I said, he has enteroliths. That fast. I said, he has enteroliths. I said, one is very large. I said, are you going to do surgery? She said, oh yeah, he's got insurance. And I said, oh good, because that's really expensive. And I said, one of them looks huge, but there's some other smaller ones. And I said, he needs surgery right away. She said, I didn't tell you what his symptoms were. I said, I can physically see enteroliths in his intestine. She goes,
Mm,
how do you do that? I said, I don't know how you don't.
right.
I mean, that's really how
Right.
I work. And of course, the horse is home and fine. And
Oh,
one of the
good.
enteroliths was 5 pounds.
Wow.
And there were about 12 more. If you go to my Terri Jay page on Facebook and just go scroll down with all of the stuff, I post a lot of silly stuff. But if you keep going down to about last week or week before, you'll see that it's this big. And I could see it in the horse's intestine. I mean, just stuff like that, it still blows me away. How
Right.
you can see disease in a body. And I'm still amazed at it.
Well, you can.
Yeah, yeah, but
Like
everybody
you
can.
said, like everybody can. I think I could relate that to my empath feeling.
Yeah,
Like when I see someone and I feel their feelings immediately. And I think there are people out there that aren't aware of that.
right.
Someone's not feeling something, and then, maybe they come home from work and the husband or the wife is just kind of like not even paying attention. They're not feeling it, and they're getting in a fight now because like
Sure,
I know right away. My fiance, I can tell right away when something's right, you know, not right. And
sure.
I'll go up and say, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "Okay." And then, emotions and
My
things like that.
my husband used to think he could get away with smoking. Ain't happening. No,
Right. So you could pick
no.
up on that right away.
Every time, every single time. Thank God he doesn't smoke anymore, which is really good.
So your website is terryj.com. It's your
Uh-huh.
name.com. That's where people can find it all about you. I always end each episode the exact same way, and it's a simple question, but it can be a complicated answer. But we go if I've talked to a lot of people who go to the other side, and they tell me about this experience they've had, and sometimes it's interesting because sometimes they'll tell me, "Oh, I was in this big black void, and oh, it was amazing." And I go, "Well, that doesn't sound amazing." But to them, they were feeling something that they can't even explain in human terms.
Right,
So
right.
I have to accept that. But then other people will tell me, "Oh, they were in this place, and there was columns, and it was beautiful." And then those things are really interesting to me. And I kind of find my interest in certain things. And I go, "Wow, that's all sounds beautiful." And then I look at the things that are happening in this world. And I go, why would we come here and do this if it's like that there? Like, what is the
I
main
know, I
reason
know,
being
I
coming?
know,
I'd
I
love
know,
to
I
hear your
know.
insights on that.
What I've determined determined from the guidance, my experiences, and everything is that we are imbued with the energy of the Creator. We are the same energy as God. We are God energy in a freaking meat suit.
Mm-hmm.
And we come into physical form in order to create. And what you create is up to you, whatever blows your skirt up, you know? And we choose big challenges, couple, 3, 5 big challenges before we come into physical form. And how we master those challenges determines what we will choose our next life. So if you overcome your challenges, then your next life is going to have less challenges. So that's just my interpretation of it, just because I work with so many people and I go, why did you choose that? God,
Right.
that's awful. But when people ask me, why was this child born disabled? And then I tell them, well, might be a past life suicide for a temporary reason, to where they didn't value their life then. So they choose way bigger challenges this time. And everybody's in on it because everybody has the opportunity then to grow because of helping this child overcome their challenges.
Hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
That is really interesting. And it's interesting to think of, I love how you had said that, we choose challenges before we come in the physical form, but we choose challenges to overcome them, to work on overcoming them. And then in the next life, then we may not have to have that
That's
challenge
right.
because we've overcome
That's
it.
right.
I guess then, I go so deep with everything because then I go, okay, what happens when we've overcome all our challenges? Is that who spirit guides are? Is that what, like, my mind goes into a
No,
whole
no,
other,
no,
no?
no, no. Spirit guides are never dead people.
Okay.
No, because they're just different energy. It's like people saying, I got messages from angels. No, you didn't. That was your guides. Angels come in, save our honey. They're gone. That's it. Our
Mm.
guides are 24/7. So if you listen, they'll help you. No matter what you need, they'll help you. Whether it's a recipe from the lady from Minnesota, or figuring out what to wear, they're there. They'll help you all the time. So we just have to learn to listen to them. As we're asking a question, we're being given or shown the answer. And we just, most of the time, we're so into our thoughts, we miss it.
Hmm.
So I think that the people that come into physical and are healers, unbelievable healers, I think those people just pretty much got everything right, several times in a row. And when I
Right.
come back, I want to be able to just point at people and have them completely healed. That's what I'm gunning for next time. That's what I want to do.
That'd be amazing. My gut feeling has always been there's somewhat of a, and I could be wrong, but it's that there's still a form of evolution that our spirit is going through.
Yes.
And yes, I may not know what happens when we get to that. I like how you said the healers. That makes sense to me. Um, because I feel like there's something we're going after, you know.
Yes.
And so we'll see what that something is, but I'm on the same mindset as you because when you say it, I haven't had any intuitive communications or anything to verify that, but it's funny when you say these things, it's like a yes feeling. Um, and so that's what I trust. So that makes sense. But I love that. I love the answer, and I appreciate you coming on tonight and
Thank
sharing
you
your
so
time with
much for
me.
having me. It's really been fun. You asked great questions.
I try to go deep, and I just try to say what comes to me, and like I said, and but it's been a really amazing pleasure having you on here. I always talk to the audience, say please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the Soul Inspired, so we can get amazing guests like Terri on the show. And if you want more information on Terri, go to terrijay.com, and I'm sure you'll find everything out there. And I'll put all the links to your books and everything in the show
Thank you
notes
so
so
much.
people.
And I've got a great press kit. I've got a gazillion podcasts. This one will be on there as soon as I get it. All the podcasts I've been on for other people and testimonials. So testimonials, I just keep going, I did that. Oh my God, I did that. Because I'm still, you just disconnect from it once it happens. And then there's lots of videos, because I've been trying to get a TV show forever. So there's
Mm.
some, the pilot and the sizzle and all that stuff is still on there too.
Well, again, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sure they can find all that. And I'm really happy that you came on and had the conversation with us tonight. So thank you
It
so
was
much.
really fun, Joe. I love your energy and just stay with the music. That's your healing thing.
Right. I
Stay
know.
with it.
I know.
So